Hello and welcome to this problem. Problem number 1036. Escape a large maze. So now I often tend to say that these lead code hard problems are not actually hard problems. But I mean it's not so true for this problem. This problem is actually a slightly challenging problem. If you just read the problem statement, it would not be that challenging. But when you actually code, it's slightly challenging. So it's gonna be a really good ride. So let's get started. So what does this problem say? The problem says that there's this maze we have in a 1 million by 1 million grid. The coordinates of each grid square are x comma y with the ranges are given. So it's like a 1 million cross 1 million grid. And in that 1 million cross 1 million grid, we have us source and we have a target square. Now we could on each move we could move up down like all the four directions, right? And in basically you cannot move on something which is a block square. So there is a list of blocked squares. Those are like the black blocks where you cannot move. Other than that, you can actually move right through the grid. Now the question is return true if and only if it is possible to reach the target square through a sequence of moves. So this seems to be a very standard question. You have this big maze. You have a starting place, you have an ending maze, and just have to find whether through the block squares is there a way to reach the target or not. And that's a very straightforward solid BFS problem. So why not apply a BFS here? So let's see what happens. So if we try to apply a BFS here, let's look at the complexity of the BFS. So the BFS would at least be involved in looking at iterating through all the grid cells. Now how many grid cells are there? So it's O of if one side is n, the complexity of the BFS would be O of n into n, or O of n square. Now we know that in our case n is a million, so there are a million grid cells in one direction, and there are like both the directions, both the sides, there's a million grid cells, right? So the total number would be 10 to the power 6 times 10 to the power 6. So the complexity would be of 10 to the power 12, right? And the memory complexity to store whether what is visited or what is not visited will go as big as 1 terabyte. And it's not a it doesn't require a lot of brains to think that 1 terabyte is huge amount of memory, and lead code is nowhere going to give us near memory than that. Even 1 gigabyte of memory lead code actually does not give. So if you go to any other coding websites like code forces, sometimes due to the nature of the competition you could have 1 gigabyte memory allocation, but generally lead code is 200 to 300 because of the levels of the problem. So what we have to do is we have to solve this problem, get from the beginning to the end with less than 1 terabyte of memory. So how are we going to do that? So first of all, let us understand the question. For that, we have these grids. So imagine this is a million cross a million grid, and you're given a starting position. Let's say this is the let's pick up the brush tool. So this is the starting position. Let's denote it by this thing, and the ending position is denoted by green. So from the red to green we want to go. So this is the ending position. Now in this ending square and the starting square, you could have many blocked squares, right? This is a blocked square, this is a blocked square, this is a block square, this is a block square, like squares in which you cannot actually move, right? So all of these configurations can be a block square. And the question is, can you find out a path which which just goes through all of these squares and reaches this, which is our target, right? So I mean in this case it is very possible to find out such a path. It's the path which I showed. This is the path, and there are many other paths which reach this target. But the question is, without doing without doing a BFS. So this is a typical BFS problem. You try to start from here, and then you look at all the cells around it, and then gradually reach here if you are able to reach. But you cannot do that because this would be a 1 terabyte. It would be a trillion bytes big. You cannot do that. So what can be done? So in questions like these, when you are sure that the memory complexity is too high or the time requirement will be too high, then you have to go and look at the bounds. You have to look at the limits. So when you go and look at the limits, what you realize is that you have this question as a note. So the number of blocked, they are 200. There are only 200 blocks, right? And basically, yeah, the blocks could be any of these. So this is the most important idea. First of all, the source is not the target, so this is a good thing. All of them are in the this all says that all of them are in the million cross million grid. But this is the most important thing you observe. that out of a trillion blocks, only 200 of them are blocked, right? So what does this means? This simply means that it's a big array, big grid, in which there is only few and very few blocks. So the chance that it's true is extremely high. The chance that there is a path is extremely high. So instead of starting from here and seeing whether we encounter blocks or not, what we could be thinking about doing would be, let's reconsider our strategy. Let's say we have a starting position which is here. This is the starting position. Let's say we have an ending position which is here. Ending position could be here, it could be anywhere, right? It could be anywhere. So we have a starting ending position which is here, right? Now we know that there are going to be only 200 obstacles. Now when we see that there can be only 200 obstacles, instead of finding them all around, the only way we are not able to reach would be if the obstacles completely surround you know the target, the source, or it does completely surround the target, right? If any of these is true, then and only then we can reach in this configuration only we are able to not go from here. And this can be even bigger, if it's like, even if there is a bigger circle around, just you can cover some path, but then beyond that you cannot go. So for example, this is an example of that it is a bigger circle, but there is a circle around the source. So if you can just search around a circle in the source until a certain radius and circle around the target until a certain radius, then you're actually done. You don't need to traverse through all the trillion points. What you need to do is you need to traverse to a fixed circle around the around the starting point and around the ending point. And if there is one, even this is not completely blocked, then you actually have a path right from the source to destination, right? So this is the challenge. So basically we have to use this information that there are only 200 of these things to block the a trillion element array. So let's figure out how are we gonna limit this, how are we gonna bound this, right? So to do that, what we can do is we can let's say we start with this again. We have for simplicity, let's say this is the starting position, right? And this is the ending position. Oh, so this can be the end, the source position, and this can be the target position. Okay, so this is the this is the ending position. This is the ending position, for example, right? So if we have this, now what we have to do is we have to figure out a perimeter around this, or this can be here as well, right? So what is the perimeter such a way that there can be 200? So what the question we have is, what is this, sorry, what is this what is the maximum length of the perimeter around this block, so that we can guarantee that all of the 200 what is the area, so what is the maximum area of this maximum number of blocks, which is the maximum number of area, so that the perimeter is 200 blocks and it's enclosed, right? So we have to arrange 200 blocks in such a way that the area is maximum. If we are able to find out that maximum area, what we can do is we can check all of those in that shape and all of those area. And then if we are sure that you cannot have a perimeter of 200 actually guarding the entire source, then the problem is solved. Then if it's not possible, then there is always a way out of it. Same for the target. So the question is, what is this shape here which has a perimeter of 200, but it will have the maximum area? So it actually is a little bit tricky to think, but if you try to think, what will turn out would be something of this sort. So you have suppose this is the, so let's not have this. Suppose we have to just block, right? We have to just consider the block. So if the blocks are, why is this not okay? Okay, yeah. So for example, if the blocks are like this, if the block is here, the second block is here, the third block is here, the fourth block is here, the fifth block is here, so on and so forth for 200 blocks, then what will happen is, so on and so forth, we can have like all of these 200 whatever, like 200 blocks. So what happens is that if there is a starting position inside of this, and like so on, like which actually let's This is pretty much a bad example. Similarly, you could actually construct from here. If it starts from 200, uh, the other way would be the right way of doing it. So suppose this is number 200. If it starts from number 200 and so on. So this configuration, actually this configuration, so that configuration had the maximum leeway room. This configuration, and if you go all the way up to, let's say, 0, this is the configuration which has the, it just uses 200 of them, and the 200, it just bounds one side. It does not use the blocks to bound any of the more sides. So it's not that hard to see, but you'll have to use some geometric intuition and geometry argumentations to show that this configuration, where there are these 200 of these things, would be the maximum, will be the shape which uses a parameter of size 200 and covers maximum area. Why is this? The intuition is that if you have any closed shape like a circle or a square, you will need to use the perimeter in the periphery. And when you use the perimeter in the periphery, there is less, the blocks get used, there is less area. But when this is all naturally bounded, this is naturally bounded, this is naturally bounded. So in this configuration, what will happen is that this you use all the blocks just to block this, right? So this is the perimeter, so this is the shape. So what is the area of this shape? If we can compute the area of this shape, then what we can do is we can just start. Let's say the worst case would be starting from here. This would be the worst case. The worst case would be starting from here. So you just go from all of these directions. You start from here, and then if you encounter this, then wherever your target is, you will not be able to reach that, right? So what's the area of this? So if this starts from 200, this is 200 blocks high, so this is nothing but 200 long, right? This is nothing but 200 long. So this is 200, right? And when this is 200, this is 199, the other one. So this is 200, 199, so on and so forth until this is 0. So what we care about is, and this is not 1. So what this is actually uh, sigma 200, or in fact this is not even this, because there is this one covering block. It's 199 here, then 198, because the we are just counting the white blocks, the area, so on and so forth until there is 0. So what the answer is, the area of this figure, which actually carries, has there's 200 perimeter, the area is nothing but 199 plus 198 plus so on and so forth, 197 until 1, right, plus 0, but then we don't count that 0. So what is this? This is nothing but the like the arithmetic progression, n into n plus 1 by 2, right? So if instead of 199, if there are b blocks, like there are b blocks, then the answer to that would be, the number of the area would be b into b minus 1 divided by 2, right? Or let's say, yeah, b into b minus 1 divided by 2, right? So this would be the maximum area for b blocks. For in our case, it is 200, so this is 200 into 99 by 2, right? But for every question, 200 is the maximum. For every question, there can be less, so we can use this general formula, b into b minus 1 divided by 2. What this says is, this is the maximum area which is enclosed by a perimeter, by using a perimeter of size b, right? And this is how we use it. So if there is the green square, if there is a destination anywhere else in this in this thing, what will happen is that it will not be able to go. We have to return false, right? Agreed. We have to return false. The only corner case which we have not yet covered would be that, what if this is the target, but something which we need to be careful about, that if this is the target, then and this is green. So imagine this is like the green, the destination, and if all of them are actually enclosed in the same if both of them are enclosed in the same sort of a construction, if both of them are in the same thing, then we don't need to we need to return true, because this is false, because a will not be able to reach this, but in this case this will be able to reach this, right? So this is the corner case. So essentially what we try to do is, instead of going the entire BFS, what we try to do is we try to identify a parameter. If it is outside the parameter, then it's false, but if it's inside, then it's true. Otherwise, it's like, if there is no such parameter, then it's true all the way. So this is what we want to do, and so now it will be very easy to search. So what we do is we start searching from the source to the destination, and then we'll start searching from the destination to the source, because the source can be trapped and the destination can also be trapped in a similar way, right? So let's start. So for that, hopefully everybody is following until here. So now the point is that you cannot have a trillion element array, and a trillion element array is not possible. So whatever you need to do is you need to have a map, right? An unordered map of what points have we seen and what points we have not seen. So we define this macro, which could be very useful later on. So we define, look at this, we call this a map of 2D bool. So it's a map, a boolean map of a 2D array. So let's it's defined as unordered ordered map of int comma unordered map of int comma bool, right? So it's a map of map. So it's 2D map of, it's a 2D like x comma y, whether x comma y is true or not. So this data structure will be used for a lot of things, for storing all of these values, right? So what we want to do is let's have this definition actually uh, outside this function, so it's actually useful. uh, let's have it in public. So this is a public definition, so this can be useful. Now what we want to do is we want to have this 2D map bool, this variable called blocks. So it has all the blocks in it, and we need to store a block, all the blocks. So for, let's say, auto is a really interesting keyword in keywords. For auto, point in block. So if a point is blocked, if the point is blocked, then we make sure that the map is set to be true, right? Then blocks of and we count how many block points are there. So int num blocks. So we know that the maximum is so the maximum is 200, but still we have to count, because the complexity of the algorithm is n into n plus, like blocks into block minus 1 by 2. So it's O of block square, right? So instead of O of n square, what the complexity of this would become O of block. So basically it's O of block into block minus 1 by 2, but we need to do it for 2 times for the source and the destination, times 2, which is equal to O of blocks into blocks minus 1, we asymptotically equal to, approximately equal to O of blocks square, right? The number of block squares. So we just do num blocks plus plus blocks of 0.0, 0.1 is true. So wherever we so in this map we are adding 0.0 and 0.1 and mapping it to true, right? So it's as simple as that. Now when we have this 0 for whatever points we see blocked, now what we do is we simply do a return. We search whether it's true or false. So this function search, it will return true and it will return false. Search from the source to the target if it's blocked or not. If it's blocked, then it will return false, and if it's not blocked, it will return true. So blocks, right? So if the target is blocked or not. So if it's true, and there's like C++, you can have and search. We start searching from the target to the source, right? And the blocks are the blocks, right? If any of these things have that blocking around them, then this will return false. So one of them, this will be false, and it finally be returned false. But if both of them are true, so there is nothing blocking them, then actually there will of course exist a path, right? So now writing out the function search. Now search is it's a boolean function. Search, it will take in these vector source and vector targets, and it'll also take the blocked it'll also take the map to the bool, the vector pointing to it of blocked. So this will be the map of all the blocked values, right? So this is nothing but a BFS. What we do is we now do a BFS. Now we do a BFS to find out whether it's surrounded or not, right? So first, to do a BFS, we'll have to have a visited array, but we cannot have a visited array because this will be too small. So for that, we just have a visited map. In fact, we cannot also have a visited set with pair int because C++ does not support sets with pair int. So we just have map to the bool. And in this map to the bool, we have an array called the visited array, right? It's this thing. And in this visited array, we have already visited the source, and we have already visited the source 0 and source 1, so this is set to be true, right? So if this is set to be true, now what we need to do is we need to also set you have a q, let's call the q, or we can call the q bfs, whatever you want to call. Let's say we have the bfs q. Intuitively we could call it bfs because it's easy. So ue of, what will be this q of? The q will be of pair int. So the coordinates, we are queuing the coordinates. Let's call it bfs, or let's call it q, for example. It's q, so this is the actual bfs q, and we want to push in this q. What do we want to push in this queue? We want to push the source 0 comma the source 1, right? Yes, now we have pushed them in the source. Now once we have done this, what we do is we we also have to have this variable array area is 1 initially, because that's we only see in the source. Now you know what is area? The area is what we decided, it's b into b. Okay, so for the area we'll also have to pass in the num blocks. So num blocks, so this is the number of blocks. So we know that the area is bounded by a number of blocks into number of blocks. So number of blocks, so this is int area. Int max area, how much you should check. Int max area is num blocks times num blocks minus 1, right? All of this divided by 2. This is what you need to check, right? Now in the area you push this, you're pretty good. Now you also have to have a direction vector, right? Because you want to check through all the directions. So we have just a simple vector int of rdir and vector int of column dir, right? Now this is 0 comma 0 comma 1 comma 1 minus 1. This is like we're making a pair, 1 comma minus 1 comma 0 comma 0, right? So 0 1 0 minus 1 1 0 minus 1 0, however you want to do it. You want to loop it through, you free to do, right? So this is set. Now we have to look at the queue. So now while queue queue is not empty, while queue is not empty, start, right? We have int r is equal to q dot front, what's in the front of q, dot first, because it's a pair, and int column is equal to q dot front dot second, right? Getting it? Because the front of the queue is a pair. The pair, the first element is the row and the second element is the column, right? Now when this happens, we just pop from the queue, the q dot pop. Yes. So yeah, now if first thing we check is target, if you have reached the target. So the last corner case where in the blockage there is the target. So if you have already reached the target and C is the target, then we have done. So basically this is right, we can reach it through, right? So we just say we return true, right? The other case would be that if after after all of this, if the area variable is greater than max area, right, then also it means that we have checked through everything and you have not found any blocks. So we just say we return true, right? That it's like there's no blocks and there are path possible. Now we get through, after all of these checks, what we do is we get through the actual BFS part where you actually do the BFS. Now for int I is equal to 0, I greater than 4, all the 4 directions, I plus plus, yes. Now there should be a will be a condition to check. Okay, now we need to see whether we have int new row is nothing but row plus the rdir of I. Int new column is nothing but C plus C dir of I, right? This is the column direction, the row direction. Now, if this is true, then if we can have a bound checking function where nr is, let's actually do it. It's good programming actually. So it's a bool bound checker. There's also a global variable called size or max size, grid size, right? Let's have grid size, and that's a million, right? Now what this bool bound checker takes, it takes in an int row value and it takes in an int column value, right? And it just tells whether these values are in bound or not, right? So it just returns whether um, r is greater than or equal to 0 and r is smaller than the grid size, and c is greater than equal to 0 and c is the grid size, right? So this is just a simple bound checker. It can make life very easy when we have things like here. So if the bound checker is true for nr and nc, and we have yet not visited, if we have not visited nr and c, we have not visited them, and they are also not blocked, right? If nr and nc are not blocked, so if all of these conditions hold, then and only then what we do is we push them. So first of all we do is we increment the area so that we have covered one more valid spot, incrementing the area. We then do q dot push nr comma nc. This is a push, normal push. Then we do q, not q dot push, we also have to change the visited. So visited, the map of visited, the visited of nr nc is equal to 2. So this is very cheap when you have an array. Map is a big overhead, but you can have a trillion size array, so we are using maps, right? In this case it's a unordered map of map pool, int bool, right? This is true. So in all of these cases you'll actually return true if the area exceeds max area or whatever. And if at the end of it, if it turns out that there is no way this returns true, which means it's finished this while loop and still it is not able to return true, which means that it does not satisfy the condition, which means that it actually is bounded, so we return false, right? If it's not reaching the target, if it's not until it's not coming until the max area, if you're getting stopped somewhere, if everything is over and all of them are blocked, then you return false, right? That this thing is blocked. So you're getting it. This is a crucial, the realization that there is this max area is a really crucial thing. Let's try to run our code and see whether we have not made a blunder. So slightly complex. Okay, yeah, this is a simple mistake. It's not assignable. Okay, equal to yes. Accepted. Let's submit. Yeah, so many attempts later this is actually happening. Awesome, success. 344 milliseconds, and this is the this is accepted, right? So the crucial part was actually to realize the area, the max area. If you can know the max area by geometry, then this is actually a very simple BFS problem. You just need to find out until the max area from the source. You have to do it from the target, and once you do that, you solve the question is solved, right? So this is how you solve 1036 escape a large maze. It is a slightly trickier BFS problem, but if you know the math, if you know the geometry, and if you know BFS, then this is the solution to the question. Thank you.